Hi, welcome. Short little video, just giving you a real quick overview of the mindsets that we talk about in our trainings, in our workshops. So I just wanted to kind of introduce to you, in case you aren't familiar with the concepts that we will be talking about. So first, we want to talk about neuroplasticity, which is really the science behind some of these mindset ideas. And neuroplasticity is this idea or concept that your brain is constantly growing and changing, it's evolving based on the experiences that you have. All right? Your brain is taking the information and creating new synapses. And that's this idea of what neuroplasticity is about. Because every experience we have, it's making neurological connections inside your brain. Now what happens if we deprive it of this activity and this mental stimulus, or if we get overwhelmed by stress, those synapses, those connections can become weakened. Neuroplasticity is really behind the very idea of learning and memory, and it is what enables mental and behavioral flexibility. And research has firmly established it. All right, it's a fact. This is what happens in your brain. All right, mindset. Let's define it first. Dr. Ali Cromwell, professor of psychology at Stanford University, defines mindset as the mental frame or lens that selectively organizes and encodes information. There are many different mindsets, and we will talk about three. Growth mindset and fixed mindset. Those are kind of the opposite sides of a coin from each other. Stress is enhancing mindset, and what I refer to as the mindsets of a champion. So fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, well, the core belief here is that your intelligence is fixed. It's not going to change. You were born with what you were born with. This leads to a desire to shun learning, and therefore a tendency to avoid challenges, to give up in the face of setbacks, to see effort as pointless, take criticisms personally, don't find lessons and inspiration in the successes of others, and as a result, people with a fixed mindset tend to have lower levels of achievement. A growth mindset, the opposite or the flip side of the coin. The core belief there is that intelligence can be developed, and this leads for a desire to learn and therefore a tendency to embrace challenges, to persist in the face of setbacks, to see effort as a path to mastery, to learn from criticism, to find lessons and inspiration in the success of others. And as a result, people with a growth mindset tend to have a higher level of achievement. Stress-enhancing mindset is this idea that stress can aid you. This is really based on the work of Dr. Ali Cromwell at Stanford University, and it's the belief around how you react to stress, what stress does for you. Now the juxtaposition behind this is this. It is true that when you are under stress, feeling stress, you can't perform as well. It is also true that experiencing stress can enhance performance. And the answer to that juxtaposition is how we think about stress that influences how we react to stress. Thus the title, Stress is Enhancing. That viewpoint changes how you react to stress. What we really need to learn to do is you shift from the emotion of stress to the cognitive aspect of thinking about how you created it in the first place. Right? What was the trigger, and then how you processed that information internally to create the stress. just that shifting from the emotion, being trapped in the emotion of stress, to the cognitive of stress, greatly influences how we react to stress. When you're in the emotion of stress, your performance declines. And when you shift from the emotion of it to beginning to process how you go about creating stress in your mind and body, you've made that shift in your thinking that begins to alleviate and helps you to actually eliminate the negative aspects of stress. All right? You can actually then perform better by just making that shift. The mindset of a champion is really a compilation of a bunch of different mindsets. And the basic idea here is when we think about champion, there's a few definitions that are really applicable to what we are trying to discuss in this term of a mindsets of a champion. So a champion is often used in the context of winning a competition, and it can refer to achieving something substantial or significant. So outside of competition, where you're going head-to-head against somebody or against a group or team against team, it's this idea of acquiring or achieving something important. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, somebody like that could be considered a champion, and that's related to this next definition because they achieve something substantial, significant, and often those people are a champion for a cause. They are fighting for a cause or for another person, and in that process they achieve something significant. So when we think about all those aspects of a champion, there's certain characteristics that they bring to the table. Mindsets of a champion is a mindset inhibited by those who win competitions or achieve something substantial, significant, or successfully defend a person or a cause. Core belief here is that they are at cause for what happens in their life. Let me make sure we are clear on what this really means. This leads to a competitive attitude and a tendency for this belief that you are in control of how you interpret what's happened to you. That's why you're at cause for what happens in your life. Because what happens beyond your control, you then have the power to interpret how to handle it and move beyond it. They tend to believe that there's no such thing as failure. There's only results. You can achieve anything that you set your mind to. There's no substitute for hard work. People are your greatest resource. You are a master of your destiny. All this leads for a tendency for people to embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, see effort as a path to mastery, learn from criticism, find lessons and inspiration in the success of others, and have a loving mindset. People are your greatest resource after all, and have faith and be faithful. Here's a graphic image of the mindset of a champion. And the mindsets have that foundation of love, faith and faithfulness of the peers, friendship, family, the relationship bosors, or stones of the arch, mind and body to the others, being held together by the spirit of a champion or the keystone of this arch. And that's the mindset of a champion. That was a quick overview of the different mindsets that we touch on, but now you'll be even more ready for the rest of the trainings.